fuck this game. And you know what? Fuck all games. I'm gonna watch some TV.
Inside.
Foreclose that Tristan lost.
I'm passing the controller over to Blank because I almost nutted from how good the first part was. I mean, no joke, Stingray here had to like hold me back. It got everywhere.
Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Jetpack Retro. Now, today, well, I'm here to apologize. Today, a fan of the assholish variety, who's been an assholish variety fan for years, I guess, is going to be covering what has been happening with Angry Video Game Nerd this whole time I've been away. I didn't want to do this video. Did not feel like covering it. But after what I've missed and what I've been seeing, it needs to be addressed. So, sit with me, get injected with a few tranquilizers from trying to break into a zoo because that monkey flipped you off like I have. And let's get to today's video. Now for today's video, we are going to be step by step covering things that have popped up that he's done and discuss them step by step. Alright, let's do it. This one really hurt to see. Now the thing is, I will say, the only reason why people really upset with him doing the merge thing with those guys is due to the fact that they just seem to have taken over everything. I am not kidding. Take a look at any of his work after the merger. It's almost as if they want to force themselves as hard as possible into the world of Angry Nerd and base themselves off him so badly. I can get you owning him. I can get you maybe picking up the slack of his work, but don't take over the entire fucking thing. Ooh, I almost freaked out a bit there. Let me calm. Now, the only reason why this is sad is due to the fact that Angry Nerd was always a lone horse. It was always done by him. And with that, you were able to see the passion squeeze off him.
It looks like a dingle hopper. It's hanging off his...
What? I believe you meant dingleberry.
I like dingle hopper better.
Episodes covering or being based on stuff he actually himself enjoyed and loved talking about, and everything he covered before, you could tell, was his choice, his writing, his passion. Now, we have dumbass shit like this.
What are you doing, Justin?
What am I doing? As always, I'm collecting Gengars. I probably have the world's largest collection at this point, as you might have seen in the one video we did on Cinemassacre of me and Mike doing a room tour. But I just got this one, who's very exciting. Hold on.
James, I know for goddamn fucking well you don't know one single thing about the Kingdom Hearts series. And I can tell that this was an obvious push just for views, which he seems to do a lot now, you know. Taking a look at his new episode he made a few days ago, that this is just what he does now. He'll only make a new episode if he has to a sponsor.
Pretty disturbing, but not as disturbing as having your unencrypted data being harvested by hackers.
Or to cover some fucking trending topic in order to reel in those views. So yes, this new corporate business screenwave shit that he sealed the channel into, I don't approve of it. I don't like it. And I will admit that in recent years they've fucked off a bit and let him do it on his own more. but still, there's still hints of them still being part of it. Now, this video was the kicker for a lot of extra backlash. I do agree that he doesn't at all in the slightest cover any of the actual problems. It seems throughout this video he does nothing but keep tiptoeing around the problem. He keeps bringing up other things that have nothing to fucking do with what the complaints are. And I do think Lady Emily said it best in her example about how it's like if a waiter just gave you some shit food. And then they're like, well, be grateful or else you wouldn't have it. I'm sorry, but I agree with her on, well, thanks, but if it's shit, it's shit. It doesn't matter what you had to do to get it or be grateful you even have it. Fuck off. I want it the way I like it. When you do it that way, it's just a throwaway at that point. When the content these people are helping you chum out is not doing you any favors, then I'm sorry, that team you're working with is not doing you any favors. It's very simple. That's the way it is. And I won't lie, when it comes to the whole I don't have time thing.
Honestly, I just don't have the time.
Time sucks. Nobody likes time.
Exactly.
I can't afford to sacrifice the amount of time it takes to make an entire movie from start to finish.
I do agree with it being a meme because here's the thing. One, you rarely ever fucking upload. And two, you don't even do majority of the work anymore. And three, you don't even know what you're doing anymore from what it seems in your explaining computers poorly video.
Whenever I need a different angle of the room, that means everything has to move. The microphone, I have to take this wire down, the lights, you can imagine how much of a pain these are.
So they just seems, like at this point, it just seems like an excuse. Because you're not even involved like you were anymore back then. You're not even in charge of this anymore. You're not even doing half of anything you used to do back then. So it just feels like you're using it as an excuse. And I heard the whole, well, I have kids now, but I'm sorry. You also have a wife. Unless you are saying to us right now that she does nothing at all, which I bet is not true. You have the help there. You have somebody by your side helping with the kids. You work from home. Everything you do is from home, so this shouldn't be a problem. I cannot see the problem. I grew up in a home with a single parent who lost everything and had to go from place to place trying to take care of us. And even her, on her own, with barely anything, was still able to take care of us and get other stuff done. So I'm sorry with what I grew up with and what I've been seeing in your current situation, that just does not seem like an excuse anymore. Now, I have heard from others maybe he just wants to spend more time with his kids. And if that's the case, sure, fine. But you're telling me you can't just pick one day out of the fucking week where you go, all right, kids, love you, go to your mom, I'm going to quickly do an episode. Quickly film your shit, send it in, and then just keep spending time with your family. One day out of 7 days, out of a whole fucking year, counting stuff you take off in order to go on vacation with them, seems like a fair bet to me. It seems like it's all set up for you perfectly. So no, I don't agree with the time thing. This one depressed me the most. Growing up, Monster Madness was a highlight I looked forward to every single year. That's the reason why I myself, for years, I've always been trying to do my own version to fill in the gaps. Long ago, on old work I did a full-on marathon called Ghoulish Gallery, but I didn't like how sloppily it turned out, so I canned it and put the videos away. Maybe I'll unlist the videos when it comes to next Ghoulish Gallery, because I'm planning on bringing it back this time with way more detail. Be ready for that when October hits. So maybe then I'll release those episodes. But for now, I'm just trying to make sure it's good because I loved Monster Madness growing up. It was a highlight due to the fact that my favorite holiday of all time is Halloween. And even when I was a kid growing up, well, to this day, I still keep my tradition where I will only watch Halloween stuff throughout the entire month. I will only watch Halloween themed shows, themed movies, themed specials, and themed YouTube videos all throughout October. It's a tradition I've done since I was small, and I want to keep it. So what I'm getting at is, when I saw this debacle happen...
But there's a bit of a rocky start. The first episode had a problem with the script. One of our writers had somehow added a portion that was taken from a pre-existing article. That's unacceptable, and all of us here apologize for letting that sneak in.
Yeah, I mean, it was disheartening. But I do agree with some other points of views I've heard, and you guys might not agree with me, but I don't care about the plagiarism. I'll be honest, I agree with some other points of views I've heard. Everything is plagiarized one way or another. Any work on YouTube is always either information you took from Wikipedia or from some source and then you mix it into your own thing. Now, I know he didn't mix into his own thing like you're supposed to, but regardless, he recapped a movie using a quick review. Either way, you were going to get the same results. But that's not what bothers me. I don't care about the plagiarism. It is bad, but there's a form of that everywhere. What I hate is that there was no passion this year. Well, not this year, the year where this happened. I actually liked his last Monster Madness. That was actually really well done, even though we had to sacrifice good content for not one every day, just when I feel like it. But the Monster Madness that was hated with plagiarism around the world, what I hated so much about it was it felt lifeless. I'm not even kidding. Here's a comparison right here for you guys of the originals compared to the new one.
Monster Madness!
Brain movies, you gotta love them. The Brain from Planet Arrows, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, Donovan's Brain.
It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness around the world. Today, we're taking a little trip to Big Italy, the land of ancient cities, timeless art pieces.
As you can see, for some goddamn reason, the originals had this passion to them. Even the way he spoke was just filled with, you know what he's talking about is what he wants to talk about. He feels lively, passionate. Even the intros and all the stuff happening, you could tell were cool things he put together himself, wanting to see people's reaction. This was a series that always grew out of passion for horror and film and wanting to have a show like what he grew up with that talked about these horror marathons to keep people in the loop of classic, beautiful filmmaking. And I used to actually pay attention when watching this, taking notes, because it did help with techniques and ways of how you can film a horror film, or even something in the old, lovely golden age of the black and white genre. It made me appreciate horror and film way more. Like, I wasn't a fan of horror movies, and this turned me into a fan of horror movies. I started to appreciate the way they're filmed every year I watched this. His plan actually worked. What he wanted it to do and what he wanted it to stand for actually did come true. What he did Monster Madness for worked on me. It made me appreciate all these lovely black and white movies. It made me appreciate the more cheesy nature and the camp cult style of film. It made me love it more. So your plan worked. But then with this new one, it feels lifeless, it feels phoned in, and it feels like you just genuinely didn't care. When in the old ones, it was written, it was themed, it had explosive intros that reeked of something he would do, and it was lovely. And to have him just feel lifeless with the more newer ones, same goes for his Angry Video Game Nerd episodes, it just feels lifeless now when the originals felt lively and you could feel him go off of it. Well, I think my tranquilizer high is starting to come down. Thanks for watching, guys, and in case you ask, no, I am not going to be covering Rex Viper. The less said about that, the better. Now, I have been spending these last few days grinding away at one of my favorite games of all time that I have played for hours on end. And if you're wondering why, because I'm getting it ready for my first episode of a new segment I'm going to be starting on this channel. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be covering a real great game that I love so much, that I've spent so many hours on, including now recently for the episode. And I hope you guys enjoy. And now I'm going to go because I took 20 laxatives after the shot to see if it would negate it. And I think they're about to kick in. Bye, guys.
Relief.
You two take care of labor.
Only intended for a plane capsule.
You don't want to die.
Me, the person that I am today, call us.
Toll free.
I did want to cover a certain other topic today, but due to what I recently saw on my videos and the fact that this is a topic that nobody ever wants to cover and something that I was a big hyped up on when it was announced, I considered, I guess I might as well get it out of the way now. No better time than now to cover this. Don't worry, the next video will be much more positive and be about something that's way more hyped to talk about. But for now, let's take a look at the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. Oh boy. Yes, I remember when this was first announced and how hyped I was. When his initial video came out suggesting the idea, then him bringing up the Kickstarter, and then that amazing video of him showing him, taking a look at signatures, autographs, getting them ready for fans to take with them, as a thank you for the fact that he reached way over what he was asking for. He was asking for a small budget and got way more than he thought he was going to get. Things were looking high, and I was excited as hell to see this movie get made. It had a good premise, with it being based around the legend of the one game he never reviewed ever. Even an episode, Spielberg Games, where he literally ended with a teaser for the movie, and everything was riding in high for a great Angry Video Nerd movie. But then it came out. And the second people took a look at it and what it ended up being, well, let's just say it wasn't much of positives. Not all bad though, but not completely positive. To me, the movie just an okay if I had to give it a rank, just fine, right in the middle. But we're not going to do a full-on review of the movie here. We're just going to take a few peeks here and there, and I'm just going to give you my notes of why this was a failure, but not a complete failure, if that makes sense.
Cut. Perfect take, nerd. Nice throw, man. Want another angle?
Cooper, I appreciate the help, but usually I film these videos all by myself.
Yes, first things first is this. Now, I'm not trying to bury this person or anything. Really good actor. I guess this guy knows the work. But why? Everybody can agree with me on this one. I've even seen videos bringing this up. Why bring up somebody new that has nothing to do with Angry Video Nerd? It genuinely makes no sense. I was expecting a big, grand Angry Video Game Nerd adventure with Mike Matei. I thought, yeah, Mike Matei would be a great fit. He's been there from the start. He's played all your characters before. A fun venture that reveals also a mix of how you do the show, where Mike's the one behind the camera, or Mike's the one trying to hype you up to do this E.T. review. Hell, we could even throw in a joke where he doesn't know much about gaming because he gets too frustrated by it, and that's why he sees no problem in you reviewing the E.T. game. Really good thing. And yes, like I heard before, another true point, Angry Video Nerd has this thing where he needs to be with people he knows and he gels with. He needs to be with people that are from his life or personal. Because if not, it just comes off as awkward, and he ends up just giving this weird try not to laugh face throughout the entire movie. And I'm sorry, but it fits better when you're with people you know. You can feel the connection. You can feel that comedy going off each other like with your old episodes. I mean, with lots of your old episodes.
Hey man, did you just swear? Oh yeah, I said fuck you.
And sadly, that's what was missing here. That connection, characters that are actually from your show that we know. I mean, hell, even if you threw in Super Mega Death Christ in there, that would have been better than whatever this was. But instead we got, in all honesty, a person trying way too hard to be Hollywood, when the fact is that's not what we loved about your work. What we loved was the fact that it was you, yourself, your own fun, your own vision coming to life with what you just had laying around the house. It gave many creators, even people like me that don't have anything, trying to get a jump start on our film careers, hope. It gave us a thought of, hey, we don't have to be big budget movies or anything. As long as we use what we have and make whatever skills we can just with what's at home, we could probably make it. You started that, and then the movie kind of ran away from that.
If I was a big director, I think that I would actually try to force that. I would try to keep it like a home movie style. I think that should be something I should strive for.
Yes, now we come to the budget. Another thing people have pointed to, which I also agree, is that budget you had was way more compared to other independent filmmakers I've seen. It was way more if you used it wisely. But for some reason, he went bonkers with it. It needs to be filmed in Hollywood, nowhere else. I need to film it where movies are made. It has to be done actually buying expensive locations. It has to be shot on location. Why? Many independent filmmakers could tell you that's not the point. The point is to use what you have to make a fun experience. I'm sorry, but there's a thing in film called smoke and mirrors. There's a thing in film called, by the way, it's just a film, these are just effects. The whole point of effects in film is to make things look like something else, and basically to use your imagination to make a story that's obviously not real, but to us feels real because of the way it was shot. And I agree with the notes. I 100% agree he should have just done it locally. He should have filmed it in places he already knew. He should have gone to much more cheaper locations. Hell, should have gone to places that he is familiar with and is friends with some of these places, so it helped him even more with that connection I mentioned earlier. And he should have just filmed it the way he would Angry Virginia episode, just with a bit more effects and a bigger budget. That's it. All it had to be was, for example, like when he did the Bugs Bunny episode, or when he did the Rob the Robot episode, something like that, just with higher quality and to a bigger scale and more locations. That was all that was needed. But for some reason he took this personally. He took it as an attack where I need to be a filmmaker. It needs to be real. I need to do this to prove I'm a filmmaker. It almost feels like he started to slowly not want the presence he had or not want the attention he had, and he wanted to finally break away from it and be a filmmaker, which I'm all for. I actually do think he's a talented director and a talented filmmaker. I think he is. I mean, I love the Head Incident movies. I love Board Games, which was a masterful piece of storytelling, and he has that charm to him that shows that he can do it. I mean, his video, A Horror Premise I'm Working On, I actually love that video. I really do wish he makes that movie. Using nostalgia as a type of horror genre that we could get into is really enjoyable. And I actually do hope he does make that movie one day. Hell, it'd be better than what he did here. Not trying to be mean, just stating facts.
I'd like to be the father of the short films, like Edgar Allan Poe is to short stories, because, I mean, I wouldn't mind going into a theater and watching like 4 short films in a row rather than like one feature, because, you know.
But when all's said and done, in the end, when I give my just straight up honest thoughts of just the movie for what it is and watching it for how it is, it's not horrible. There's a part of me that enjoys the movie. Yeah, it's nowhere near great, but it's just simple fun in my opinion. I like the effects he was able to pull off. I love the little things he did here and there. I actually love the True Gamer Fight CIA Area 51 mixed story that makes for good comedy. There's good jokes in it, there's good story moments, and when everything's said and done, I like that in places here and there he actually did decide to mix together his simple film style with some jokes and some things that worked here and there. I mean, I put this movie on with a few friends of mine when it came out, and then later showed it to another friend of mine who's never heard of Angry Reynard. And do you know what that person's thoughts were? They said to me exactly, you know, I like it. It's nothing extraordinary, but I love the fact that he's willing to admit it's a small budget and he's having fun with the fact this is a much smaller, simpler movie. I love its simplicity. Every person I talk to tells that to me. Every person tells me, yeah, I love the simple parts of it and the working with the small budget parts of it. Those parts are great. But the parts where he tries too hard are always the parts people turn away from. One person I watched it with outright just didn't like it because they said to me, you know, with the budget he was given, he could have done something much better locally in a much cheaper area with friends of his. This person doesn't even know Angry Reynard, and they had those thoughts with me. They said this would have been better if it was just done locally. So even people that don't know who he is, even they have the same thoughts, which just blows me away. It's a simple movie, it's fun, and in the end of the day...
I think my dream would be to maybe make a really big cult sensation. Like maybe just have people going nuts in the theaters, like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
As long as we keep thoughts like those in mind, we got ourselves gold on our hands. Now, with what you were trying to do with this, I do think your vision you brought with you with this would be much better for your horror premise. The horror premise does need what you did with this movie in that one. This one, it just had to be fun, simple time with your fans and your friends and those around you that you hold dear. So, yes, that's all I had to say for finally my return out of that goddamn ghost trap. I'll see you next time.
Around the track if you get nails and more nails.
You handsome, charming, specially marked boxes of mine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Time to watch one of the greatest DreamWorks movies ever made. Oh shit. Oh shit, oh shit. Oh, hey there guys, yeah, well, an eclipse is happening, but if you're wondering why I'm ducking from it and I'm staying low profile and I'm hiding, because I'm not afraid of the eclipse. I'm afraid of what it represents. Long ago, a promise I made because I didn't think it would actually be possible, but I decided to do, create a list of the top 7 worst Angry Reynard episodes. But I said only if an eclipse ever happened that I would ever do such a thing, and here we are in the eclipse. So here we are, the top 7 worst Angry Reynard episodes. And yes, before we start, no shit, majority of them, or basically all of them, is going to be during the Screen Slope saga, so keep that in mind. Okay, well I guess let's just jump into it.
What was I thinking?
Sorrows exceed the souls, and vanquished beings meet their fate.
Yeah, people might be confused with this entry, but there's a reason why it's so low. The reason why number 7 is The Immortal is because I'm being straight up serious with you guys. I don't remember a thing of this episode. I watched it once, half of it, maybe, when it first came out, and it went on deaf ears to me, basically. It literally, the whole point of this episode is just to prove something. It's just to do a really cool, hey, I can make the wildest sets, and I can do this all in one shot, and make it feel like it's some sort of fucking poetic thing because of how the game is. And I get it. I mean, it is impressive. The fact that he did this without breaking a sweat is really well done. But that's all it is. I don't remember a thing about the game itself. I don't really care that much for it, and it genuinely felt boring as hell to me. It literally felt like I watched nothing. Even now, rewatching it for this video, it still felt like I watched nothing. So it gets number 7, but the reason why is because it's not bad. It's really well put together, it's impressive in places, and it's really cool. But it just feels like nothing when your series is about going in depth on games and shitting on them and messing around with them. So it's just great idea, but should have been its own thing instead of Angry Nerd. So that's why it gets number 7, sadly.
What was I thinking?
Oh, man.
Do you know why this one is on the list even to begin with? I don't mind the shitty-ass CGI genie, although, yeah, it's really bad. I don't mind the review itself, although we have some dumbass cringy scene where Angry Vern has to literally just lift from gaming historians. Might I add, much better review of the Deck Enhancer's video just to explain some parts that he just didn't feel like doing. I mean, no joke, if you want to watch a better episode that also goes to the history of the Deck Enhancer, just watch Gaming Historian's video on it. It's way better. Not just that. That does contribute to it, but not just that. It's because of this.
Aladdin?
I motherfucking hate Tony from Hack the Movies. This dumb fucking...
Speed 2 is great. Who was in Speed 1? Keanu Reeves, you said? Yeah. Fuck Keanu Reeves.
Has to be better than everyone.
That's fucking bullshit. Lost World is the biggest piece of shit Jurassic Park movie ever made.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
But the
Yes,
first
it is.
one's awesome.
We get it. The island, the diner, the long neck tie. Oh, it's beautiful.
Whining, bitching, tub of fuck.
And I mean, look, a bus. Who gives a shit? I ride a bus every day. Fuck that.
Oh, I mean, that's why. No joke, if this doesn't reel it home, I also really hate Justin. I mean, Justin's like, they're both at number 1 for me. But at least Justin is just some blob that exists to exist that kind of fucks off. When Tony whines about his presence, he screams about his presence. He needs to know that you know he's there. He needs to have the best opinion. And I get really infuriated that he will also just have a different opinion for the sake of having a different opinion and not really back it up, really. And that's the only reason why. No joke. The genie and the other thing also contribute, and that's why it's number 6. But mostly because Tony from Hack the Movies is here, and I just cannot stand him. I can't stand him. I fucking hate Tony from Hack the Movies. And whenever I saw him on Rental Review or anything, I knew I was in for a bad, pointless, brain-dead review. So, yeah. Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Hello?
Hey, is this the angry video game nerd?
Yeah, who the fuck is this?
Matt McMuscles.
Oh, boy, this one depresses me. This one depresses me due to the fact that I am a huge Matt McMuscles fan. I grew up watching a shit ton of Super Best Friends play. I watched when it was 2 best friends play, then when it was Super Best Friends play, all the way to when they finally broke up, sadly. I mean, anybody remember Friday Night Fisticuffs, am I right? But sadly, this... I don't know, because the entire episode is Angry Bird, like, trying to review the game, and then he kind of just gives up and fucks off and then just calls Matt McMuscles to do it because Matt McMuscles is a huge Final Fight game fan. And then for no reason, the running joke ends up being that Matt McMuscles is nothing but a joke and more of a punchline. I mean, if you guys want to see a part 2 to this, watch Matt McMuscles' What Happened episode on Halloween 6, the movie. I mean, that episode also continues this joke where Matt McMuscles is this pathetic little bitch that Angry Bird just beats on because he's nothing compared to him. And the joke's just not funny. It's just extremely awkward. Whenever I hear Matt in this episode and I hear them together, it feels like I'm listening to a fanboy who's about to crap himself while some other guy's like, okay, sure, whatever, and then just mostly ignores him for the most of it. it's clear they don't know each other. It's clear they don't like to work with each other. It's clear that whenever they have to work with each other, it's awkward. And that's the only reason why this one's at this entry, because the fact that you guys literally made Matt McMuscles look like a joke and also made me start to... You guys basically ruined it for me. You guys found a way to ruin Matt McMuscles for me. The fact that you guys managed to do that puts this at this entry. Oh, God, it's going to get worse from here.
What was I thinking?
Wow, this game, man. As your attorney, I'm advising you play Shaq Fu on the Game Boy.
No more of that talk or I'll put the fucking leeches on, you understand?
Yeah, this one might shock some of you. I actually originally had Vegas Stakes at number 2, but it got cut back by much more worse garbage that I was able to find when making this list. And yes, I mean, you're probably wondering, why do I have this in my list? Well, I motherfucking hate Tony from Hack the Movies. This dumb fucking... Okay, fine, I'll actually explain this time around. This time there's an actual reason why. It's just a really long, unnecessary fan remake of an old classic movie. Now I'll tell you right now, I've never watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I've seen bits and pieces here and there, and I've heard of it many times, but I've never watched it, so one, that's going to fall on deaf ears for me. But also on top of it just feels so unnecessary. I mean, I would have rather if the episode was instead that Angry Werner decides to go to a casino. He'd even call it the Shit's Casino or something, where he goes and plays a ton of old casino games in order to make money for new episodes. I mean, kind of like the story he did for his episode on Adventure Island. Or was it Adventure? Whatever the fuck that episode was called. Do that storyline again, except now he's trying to use the casino and even do a joke in the end where he runs out of money. The guy from Fear and Loathing from Las Vegas kidnaps him, and then we have that drive off at the end with the guy laughing as he has him in the back of the trunk. There you go. That would have been a much better episode because it would have stuck more to the Angry Werner formula of just reviewing games and talking about them in a more funny and unique way. But he just chose to just straight up do a full-on remake of this. And I agree with many fans. It's way too fucking long. The episode didn't need to be this long. And for an episode that's majority having to do with remake and references...
They fixed this place up pretty good after that monster attacked. You actually saw that thing. Why don't you talk about it more?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Instead of straight up reviewing the casino games, that's where it becomes a big problem. So, yeah. That's why it gets number 4. It was supposed to be number 2, but somehow I found other ones that were just worse to me for many reasons.
What was I thinking?
Anyway, I'll be right back.
Oh boy, this one really pissed me off when it came out. When this episode came out, I grew furious. Because any angry video game nerd fan knows this. The Freddy and Jason episodes, the Freddy and Jason Halloween specials of Angry Video Nerd are some of the most amazing ones ever made. They are so good with how wild and creative they are. Down to cool shit like this.
I have a better chance of cloning myself. So this is fucking shit. It's so sucking shit.
To this.
Shit? Son of a fuck. Shit. Don't kill me. Kill me.
They are some of the most craziest, wildest, most fun episodes he's ever made. They are literally on his gold standards of episodes that people praise to this day. And what do I get for it? I get some shitty-ass sequel where Freddy and Jason do nothing but just sit there and do nothing until finally they do something, and when they do something, they're just fucking toys. Not even near the level they were before. And then when they finally do come out and it's time for the throwdown, he just beats them with paper.
Ah! I'm gonna chop you to kilobits! Oh, ha, ha, ha! Ah! Ha, ha, ha! Free, you bastard! Ah!
Oh wow, shit, you got them good, man. Oh wow, yeah, like look at that paper. That was badass. That's way more impressive than how you beat them in the original videos. So yeah, with all that said and more, I think I already explained it perfectly why this one gets this slot. Because as an episode, as a sequel to one of your most wildest and creative episodes, so good that you even referenced it and brought it back for your Mega Man episode, it's the most disappointing thing I've seen in a while.
What was I thinking?
Hey Sam, how's the game coming?
It's pretty good, you know, all things considered. I mean, the NES is a little harder to program for than I expected, but, you know, it's coming together. You can see it.
Oh boy. I think this one isn't a surprise to anybody. I think everyone understands. I don't even think I need to explain why this one's number 2. The LJN 200th episode special is literally one, well, just like my last entry, very disappointing. Because you want to know what it just is? Hey, how about a clip show? Yes! As you know, people love clip shows. It's not like TV shows nowadays literally have episodes mocking clip shows because nobody likes clip shows. Now we love clip shows. Don't we all love clip shows? I mean, the fact that for a 200th episode special, you thought it would be best to do, hey, you know what, we're going to review every single LJN ever, which already sounds amazing. But I'm just going to show you footage of when I did review it, and then maybe I'll chime in here and there with some shitty-ass side plot about some guy who looks like he doesn't want to be in this episode trying to make a video game and showing, whoa, dude, it's impossible to make good games on the NES. There's none at all. Do you think it's easy to make a Back to the Future video game? That's not how it works, buddy boy. It's way too hard. Dude, come on. I mean, I think other people would agree with me. It genuinely makes no sense. And even Angry Vendor himself saying, James himself saying in his How to Write a Script episode that this was a big deal because the Angry Vendor went through some big fucking arc and understood that games aren't that easy to make. The fuck are you talking about? He's learned that arc before. There are many episodes before where he genuinely says that he knows games aren't easy and he knows stuff like that. So why would this be anything different? Oh yeah, I now understand that it's hard to make video games. So for that reason, I'm going to continue to mock and shit on them in the future. There is no story arc. Story arc means you started, you went somewhere, and then you ended it. This didn't do anything. All you did was kind of just nudge Angry Vendor and say, hey, remember this that you said before? Oh yeah, that's true. And that was it. So yeah, I think people can agree with me. This one sucks. But it wasn't bad enough to be number 1. So yeah, this... Hold on, I think the eclipse is done. Yeah, it's getting much more clear now, huh? Oh, wee. Okay, so I can be back in my usual position. Now, number 1 on the list is... You know what? No. Just no. No. I think number 1 would be painfully obvious for everybody. I think everyone, any Angry Video Nerd fan who truly loves the original Angry Video Nerd, will all have number 1 the same. I know everyone has it the same, so I'm not even going to say it. Being dead serious. Just ending it here. Because I think number 1 is way too obvious. I think everybody has this on their top 10 or whatever list for worst episodes. And yeah. So I'm not even going to say it. All I'll do is give you 2 hints. 1, just the mere title alone will piss off any Angry Video Nerd fan. And the fact that it is the most worthless thing he's ever made in his life that genuinely just makes no sense. I'm leaving it at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. The eclipse is over, which means my duties are done. I don't gotta do another top 7 worst list of Angry Video Nerd anymore. My promise is fulfilled. But fine, I know this is just gonna open a whole can of worms. So yes, eventually later on, I'll make a top 7 best episode list of Angry Nerd, alright? That'll be done after I'm done with the many other retrospectives I have going on. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. 8 clips is over. I'm out of here.
They just uncovered the real you.
We now continue with Smurf.
I have the 360 version of WWE 2K15.
All funky colors. Shapes that swing.
Alright, welcome back to another episode of Jetpack Retro. Now yes, today we got another topic that I guess I'm taking a look at today. Today we are taking a look at, I know you've been waiting for this. Whew, this has been a big one. Rumble Roses XX. Now I won't lie, when I first saw this game, I was intrigued. When you have a wrestling game made by the legends that are Yucks games themselves, or Ukes if you call them, how am I not to bite at this? The sequel to the original Rumble Roses game, it's not that bad. It does tweak Angry Feeling Nerd the book. Now, I remember when I saw the video for this book when he announced it, and yeah, being the fan of Angry Nerd I am, yeah, of course I jumped at it. I mean, no joke, this book was given to me as a Christmas gift right after it came out. And I won't lie, it was a pretty good gift. The book's not horrible, but I would be lying if I didn't say there were some problems here and there to do with it. So today we're just going to quickly say a few things about it, my own thoughts on it, and what the book means to me by the end of the day. So let's just hop right into it. Now, first things first, for a book that is so advertised by the nerd, it even has the back line there, literally advertising it, saying James Rolfe is an independent filmmaker and creator of the Angry Video Nerd web series, and they make majority of that, the text on the back. Yes, this book has almost fuck all to do with Angry Video Nerd the character. This book is the book feels like he's doing everything in his power not to talk about Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, James does not want to talk about it. This book does, here and there, reinstate the fact that Angry Video Game Nerd is now more of a thing that he does not want to be associated with anymore, and he's trying to distance himself from. It's weird, but it almost does see that. Like, no joke. Majority of the book is just about, which isn't a problem, but majority of the book is just about him. It's just about him growing up, then him in school, majority him in school, majority him in school. Like, no joke, all the way, and I'm not kidding when I'm saying this, like, all the way till page 200 is when he starts to give information about the Angry Nerd itself. Like 200 pages in, and he literally, it's majority just talking about, which should be, it's an autobiography, but like majority, like I can even show you right here, like all the way here to there, that chunk cut off there is just talking about him in school and how it was in school, the things he would do, the way he saw it, the tragedies that came with the filming he would do of his really rowdy friends in college, and the way he would film them and encourage them to do even more destruction, which caused to a friend of his leaking this to the dean and him getting kicked out. And those parts are tragic and pretty sad, but another thing with Daniel's video that I will say is true is, yeah, the parts about him talking about school are very off. Like, when he talks about him in school, it is almost, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say this isn't an attack, it is almost up his own ass when it comes to it. Every class he talks about, he always replies with, well, I mean, I knew what I was doing, they didn't. Teachers were too harsh, just shut up and let me do what I wanted to do. I'm the only one that's allowed to use a camera, you kids just sit down and do what I want. And I won't lie, like, if I had, like, a kid like him in my class, I'd be super pissed. Like, And the words he said were I learned to stick up for myself. I learned to stick up for myself. And the time I was meant to be a filmmaker, all that would have done was encourage me to stand up for myself too towards him and insist that I get to direct something too. It just ends up going on this double-edged sword where he doesn't seem to understand the shortcomings and a few things he did here and there to other students. So that part is true. It seems very weird. And then when it gets to the point where he talks about how he did with his independent college films and the way people praise them and everything, which I don't doubt people praise them. I've seen those movies. They actually are great. But then he does the whole thing of, yeah, they were amazed, the greatest thing ever made. But I ain't got no chick. And then it just devolves into, yeah, I'm successful, but who cares? And I don't know, there's just so much, and this goes throughout the entire book, there seems to be so much pandering towards how he is feeling and how, almost in a way, he highlights a lot of this book through the eyes of, well, I was the main character of the story. None of these other people I saw mattered. Nobody I ever met mattered. It was just me and my push, and in the end of the day, I made it. Maybe that's a bit too much what I said there. It's just that's how it feels reading those parts. They're not bad parts though. I love the part where he talks about the bond him and the principal at the college, him and the principal had. I love that part. I love the little tribute he gives to him. I love him reflecting on what this was for him, the work he had to do in order to get by when he was dropped from college, things like that. It's not horrible. There's also beauty within the pain. There's really good points mixed with his points of the asshole-ish variety.
He said it! He said it!
There's points here and there that beautifully work, but also tone down. It's almost as if he doesn't understand a majority of what's going on around him. It ends up coming across, if this makes sense to anybody, it comes across a little bit like... It comes across a bit like you're watching Nostalgia Critics The Wall in a way, but just in a biography form. It's, you know what I mean, like he's seeing all this stuff and he completely misses the mark and completely does not understand what was really happening and just paints it in his own mind, in his own light. Which, you know what, not bad, but it's just, it ends up becoming extremely weird. But enough about that, let's move on to majority of the next points. So like I said before, we literally get up to page 200, and then finally at page 200, he finally talks about Angry Video Game Nerd. But then, he literally talks about Angry Video Game Nerd. He starts at page 200 talking about Angry Video Game Nerd, and then he stops talking about Angry Video Game Nerd literally 22 pages later. I can show you right here. This, you see these 22 pages? This is how long he gives to discussing Angry Video Game Nerd as a series, as a production, how Angry Video Nerd has been towards his life and stuff like that. And I know there's other pages before this where he very briefly kind of mentions Angry Video Nerd, but every page before this point is him discussing once in a while, rarely, like, oh yeah, and then I had to get this one job, filmed an episode of Angry Video Nerd, but it wasn't called at the time. Anyway, so then the tragedy of my job led to all sorts of horrible things with my boss, and then later on I got married, and oh yeah, I filmed like more Angry Video Nerd, and my friend Mike told me to keep going with it. Anyway, back to the job. So this job was really bad, like the job really drained me. I mean, like the job I had was soul crushing, like that's what it ends up feeling like. Like, before, it's just, maybe I'll mention it, but go back to my life. And then finally, for these 22 pages, he fully discusses what it's like to, alright, we're now doing Angry Video Nerd. This is now my full-time job. This is now what I do for a living. Here we go. And then I'm like, alright, we're getting into it, man. We're getting to, oh, never mind. And then, like, after 22 pages, alright, now let's jump into Angry Video Nerd, the movie, and just... that's it for the rest of the book. Now the rest of the book we'll be discussing the movie, how it was like making the movie, and about how it was like to be a dad, and that becomes the rest of the book. So to give you a crazy comparison, this much is dedicated to discussing his life. That little much I showed you earlier was all discussing Angry Vineyard, and only this much, only around close to like, I think 90 pages, or I would say like maybe around a clean 100 or something. I don't know, I didn't count, and only that much is dedicated to the movie. Like, he does not want to talk about Angry Vineyard. Majority of this is just his life, and everything else that, let's be honest, people are buying the book for, and people want to know the most for. They want to know all the behind the scenes of what it was like making Angry Vineyard. They want to know everything, like, whoa, how was it like making each episode? Can we see behind the scenes on each episode? How did you come up with this idea, that idea? Did anything happen between you and Mike during episodes? Was there fights? Was there discussions? Hey, what happened to Bootsy? What happened to Kyle? You know, things like that is what we wanted to know. But all we get are, like, growing up stories with them, and no joke, just the tried and true. Nothing but good vibes, man. That's all we get of them, even in the book. Even in the book, we just get the nothing but good memories. Miss ya. Peace. And that's all we get. And it is a bit shocking. Now, I won't say the parts about the movie's production isn't enjoyable, but the parts about the movie's production is so weird to me. The parts about Chapter 5, the big film, he ends up, oh my god, like, even the book reeks that he had no fun making the movie. In the parts discussing the big film, he does nothing but talk about how the film was hard as shit, no one knew what they were doing, production hell, and I'll be honest, he shows in this book that he didn't know a fucking thing of what to do with the money. There's parts here where he discusses wasting the money on some retarded production guy, on a stupid props man that from the start it was clear he was screwing him over, but he just let it happen because he does not like confrontation. He will not discuss or fight for anything, which is kind of funny for a guy who earlier in this book discussed fighting his teacher to have his way with a movie. When it came to actually for real making a movie, you didn't say shit and you didn't fight that much, and you just kind of let everyone do what they wanted and just kind of threw in the towel. So it's kind of a funny reflection how you start, like, the parts of you growing up, there's so much fire and fight, and then when it comes to your big shot to get a movie, you kind of curl up and cower and kind of just, like, you know, just kind of let what happens. All the way to not knowing which places to record in, discussing how bad it is to film in LA, how much LA does nothing but screw you over and trying to milk you for all you're worth, how he did, like, majority, he did nothing but get sad or break down over how hard it was to make this movie. Like, no joke. Even in this part here where it discussed the scene he had to do with the guy who plays the soldier tank man.
Shut the big ass titties. I like to bang that booty like, hey, stop that.
He just discusses this part while doing that scene. He was literally having a breakdown, not knowing what to do. And then the actor himself had to literally walk up to him and say, yo, I played Master Splinter in the show. Where James just replies, it brought me back to where I was. It awakened the fanboy nerd in me. As Steven coached me, I imagined Splinter saying, you must be strong, my son! And with that, I found the strength to get through my dialogue. If I stumbled a bit, if I looked tired, if my eyes were real and teary, it all worked perfectly because that's exactly how the nerd had to feel in the moment. It was my best performance of the entire film. I'm just gonna leave it at that because that's pretty funny. And like I said before, none of that is an attack. It's just things that intrigued me and points to put against each other on different ways to see it. Like, he has no good things to say about the movie. He literally either discusses it like he just fought in Vietnam, or he discusses it as if it was way too much pressure, leave me alone. And that's what it was. So, it's so weird. It comes across as a very, and I don't want to say this because before I say this, I do not believe this for a second. I do not think James is an egotistical, stuck person. I don't. I've seen how he interacts with fans and stuff. I've seen how he is. He genuinely is a nice guy, but it's just the way he writes in this is like he was this mastermind filmmaker. He was born from the start as this creative genius that was going to change the world with film. And then when he finally gets the chance to make that movie, he ends up writing from this scared little kid's perspective where he knows nothing about what to do here. And I just thought it was pretty interesting. But I won't lie, the best parts of the book and the parts that really grab you and really interest you are the parts where he discusses being a father. I won't lie, he truly goes hard here. He truly talks about how much struggle it was, the birth April went through, the fights he had to go with himself on, how to deal with the stress of everything going on around him, and how bad the pregnancy was for April, and how he has to be there for his kid, and then the pain his kid went through. It's so emotional, and so really it sucks you into it. It really intrigues you and wants you to hope that they get better in the end, or that things worked out, and it ends up becoming very heart-wrenching, and it's so beautifully well written. The parts where it discusses him being a father are beautiful, they're well done, and you can tell that those are the parts of the book where his passion really lies. His heart's in it, he's flowing through it, and it does prove the fact that I do say is true. He loves being a dad. He loves being a father, he loves being there for April. You can tell from reading this book, like, him and April have a really nice relationship together. They really bond with each other. He cares for her so much, and he cares for his kids, and there's nothing in the world he wouldn't do for them, and it leaves on a soft note. Literally, by the end of the book, I went like, yeah, that was nice. The parts where you discuss about your kids and your relationship-wise are beautifully written. You could tell those were the only parts his heart was really passionate about writing, and the rest was kind of like, just, the rest feels like he's just trying to write this narrative, like if he was writing based on a true story movie is what it feels like. And then the part about his kids is when he fully just really gets it and he lets it out. So that part's beautiful. That's literally even people who have never heard of Angry Vineyard, I recommend you just read the ending parts about him discussing him viewing his life, him viewing his future, thinking about what's to come next, what do I do from here, talking about how much his kids mean to him. Those are the highlights. I recommend just reading those parts, because the rest seem to feel like a quick drive-by where he's just trying to get it through. And that's all I had to say about the Angry Video Nerd book. I won't lie, I do not think it's a bad book. It's way better than lots of books I've read. Biography-wise, seems up to status. It seems on par with biographies that you would read from other people. So, my final verdict, it is not a bad book. Actually, on second thought, it's actually a pretty funny book, and you will be entertained. It's not a bad book. I actually like it. Can I imagine myself reading it again? Yes, but I imagine on my second read-through, I'm going to be skipping a lot of it. I can imagine reading this again, but if I'm honest, I'll just go up to when he starts talking about Angry Nerd, and then so basically from page 200 down, and just read from there. So it's a good book. I will read it again probably one day when I feel like it, but only from page 200 down. And yeah, that's all I had to say about the book. This was literally nothing more than just... This wasn't a deep dive or serious analysis or a hit piece or anything. This was just a fan who found a book that he thought was interesting and just wanted to share with you his thoughts of it. That's all this was, just a really quick, brief review on what I thought of the book. I really hope you guys enjoyed. And with this, yeah, I can't imagine any more discussions of Angry Video Nerd going on after this. So, wow, I guess it's time to say goodbye to Angry Nerd. Hey, Nerd, I'd like to thank you for all the work you've made and all the stuff you've done, and, I guess this is it. See you, man. Goodbye. Did you just fucking combust into thin air?
The inside.
For clothes that Tristan lost. Bold 3 detergent plus fabric softener.
I'm back, and we are going to start taking a look at new things again. But I thought, with my first return, what better way to come back than with the PlayStation. The PlayStation, generating a big, old, good generation of edgy, non-stop goodness for every early 2000s kid. But I gotta address what's happening today. Today we're going to take a look at a mistake I made last time. I suggested that we finished the Angry Nerd anthology. You know, my retrospective on everything he's made. But, well, if you weren't paying attention, he has announced a new video game coming out, Angry Nerd 8-Bit, which does look pretty cool, which reminded me I totally forgot about the AVGN adventure games. So today, yes, I'm going to play through it, and we're going to talk through the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures Remastered 1 and 2. So, let's boot this game up and see how it is. So my thoughts on this Angry Nerd game. I remember years ago when this game first came out and I was losing my shit excited. Like, genuinely, when this came out, I was looking everywhere to try to find a way to get it. But me being a PlayStation gamer at the time, and it was released at first only for Nintendo, I had no hope on this besides getting it for my 3DS. But at the time I just got a PS Vita, and I preferred the PS Vita just way more as a portable console, and it would not come out on there, so I was steamed for the rest of that year. However, until finally last summer, due to my luck, the 1-2 Remastered Collection was put on sale, no joke, for $3 on the PlayStation Store. So I picked it up with my leftover change, and I got to work beating it. And let me tell you, the first game, Angry Video Nerd Adventures, isn't a bad game. I actually, at first, am having fun with it. I love the details, and even the new additions, like the blood bears instead of the unicorn in the original cut, are much, much more preferred changes. I like this attention to detail and trying to connect as hard as you can everything to every aspect of the Angry Video Nerd universe. Mike did a good job at that department. But then we run into a few problems. The further I got into the game, the more I realized two things. One, the bosses are unbearable. Every single boss is just some annoying character that either just kills you immediately in one hit or two hits, and you have to either play the most really focused game of dodging possible, or you have to just spam them with the strongest character you have and just hope he dies quick. In my case, the way to do that was to just be bullshit man and just shoot my turds at him as hard as I could over and over, because he does the most damage out of anybody in the team. So when it comes to the boss department, the bosses are horrible. I think each boss is done horribly and they don't feel balanced at all. The game genuinely shocked me how short it felt. It literally is just a few levels, then you go home. And it was a bit disappointing by the end of it. But the things I do like, I love having multiple playable characters. I loved playing as Guitar Guy, I loved playing as Mike Utay, I loved playing as Bullshit Man. Adding these extra additions made the game more addictive than what it was. And the worlds, oh my god, the worlds. The worlds were also so well done. I love each and every one of them. They're so beautifully put together. Maybe it's this remaster that made them look better than they already are, but they really come out nice. The soundtrack is also good. The soundtrack plays so well. It reminds me of how good the DuckTales soundtrack is, for example. That one also rocks. I mean, the fact that he went so far in detail that he even made his banned episode of Angry Video Nerd Atari Porn. Oh, I'm sorry, Atari Pork. God, I really hate that censor re-edit. One of the worlds of the game is so great. I mean, I've always wanted to play a world where you do nothing but walk through loads and loads of semen. So yeah, overall, for the very first Angry Video Nerd video game, really well done. I don't mind it. I think it's solid. It could get really annoying in places, but besides that, solid game. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. But then we get into the sequel, Assimilation. the anal link. AVGN Adventures 2 as Simulation. Alright, yeah, it was at this point the magic of Angry Bird getting his own game started to wear on me. This game isn't horrible by any means. I actually think it improved a lot on what they did. I love that instead of just beat 5 worlds with a boss and that's it, the game's over, they made it an actual world with multiple levels that lead to a boss, and each level opened up the world more and more. But there were a few other things that made it disappointing to me. First off, the elephant in the room. Why the hell was this changed? I played the remastered edition, but I did see videos on the original, and the original was meant to be a parody making fun of movie tie-in games. And you know what? I love that idea. I love that it was a parody on, hey, this is just Angry Bird the movie as a tie-in game, and it's us making fun of the culture of movie tie-in games. That was actually great. But for some reason, he just, when it came time for this remaster, just any mention of the movie at all, just cut it out entirely. I mean, even Nostalgia Critic got cut out, which I don't even know what that was about. I don't know what he did to you. Which, I mean, why? This just comes across, and this fuels people's theories that you genuinely hate your own movie that much. Doing this weird swipe really sends the wrong messages saying that you're admitting your movie is bad. I'm not saying it fully is, but it raises questions, you know? Anyways, I love how it opens up the world. I love that it's an actual Mario-style game with open hub worlds and stuff. I loved the board games world in the game. I loved going through a world made out of board games and toys. I loved the last few bosses at the end. But the only other thing I could say that I didn't like was bosses, like usual, were bullshit to beat and very hard to do. And on top of that, instead of having other playable characters this time, which I really enjoyed in the first game, that has been scrapped immediately to instead just get upgrades to attach to James' body. Which, not a bad detail, this is based on how he was dressed when he fought Rob the Robot in the 100th episode special, so I like the idea they're going for. It's not as fun as getting to pick and play through a whole roster of characters we've come to know and love throughout the series. There, finished. Overall, a few things here and there that are vastly impressive. I love that it's opened more like a Mario game with a map system and more levels that lead to a boss that you can do instead of just one-offs like the first game. And, I don't know, a part of me still wishes it was the movie licensed joke game like it used to be. Now I know there's one more. If you beat the first 2 games, you unlock a bonus mini third game, which is just a pun. You unlock a third game just to bring back villain favorite, the bunny. That bastard bunny. And it mostly exists just to be another Castlevania parody. Literally, the entire thing just feels like you're playing through one giant castle to get to the top and beat Bugs Bunny. Which I get it, that's the point. James is a huge, huge Castlevania fan, so I respect it. But dear Lord, is it hard. This game here is just almost impossible. You have to be picture perfect, you're not making it. I was able to beat it, but that mostly came from me abusing the hit detection system where after you get hit you can still keep going for a bit. I had to abuse that left and right to beat it, and honestly it's not worth it. It's a fun extra bonus for true fans who went through the first 2 games, so I'm not saying it's a bad addition, it's just, I could say you could skip it. And that were the first 2 ever Angry Billionaire video games ever made. They're not completely horrible. I will admit, by the time I finished beating them, I just felt drained and a bit steamed at them. These games genuinely feel like, due to how short of a game they are, you could literally beat the first game in like 2 hours tops, or even less depending on your skill. The fact that these games were made so simple and short is the reason why it seems like to make up for that, they made them very hard games. They make them infuriatingly hard. By the time I finally beat the bonus castle, I was losing my shit. And yes, real funny pun, I know the whole point was that it was based on the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle games, but it just felt like an extra rager to go with your already Rage Sunday. It's a really hard game, and there's nothing wrong with challenge. Some people prefer, like the people who like Dark Souls, and some people don't. It's a frame of preference. But this one feels like it over the top does it. You can literally just touch and die from almost everything if you're not careful. So, I would have to give it around right in the middle, just an okay rating. If it was out of 10, it would be a 5 out of 10 straight out. I don't think they're bad games. I just think you could have done way more with this premise. But who knows? The new Angry Birds game's coming out, and with the added on detail of it being an 8-bit game that will actually for a limited time be sold on cartridge, no joke, it looks better than these ones. It looks like there'll be more to do in it, more detail, and what we should have got from the start. Now I know what you're waiting for. I know. You're expecting that this is going to end with me looking over at Angry Birds over there, and you're going to see me go, oh, it's now the finale. I finally finished the retrospective. And then he's going to blow up right there. No. There was still one piece to this missing. Oh yeah, there's still one video left in this Angry Birds retrospective. And I came to realize that that is why he exploded. Because I did this wrong. This isn't about hate or trying to destroy this, like I told you before, important figure in my life that inspired much of what I like to do today. No. This is going to lead to something else besides an 8-bit explosion. So join me next time, or maybe the other time, where I am going to finish off this Angry Birds retrospective.
Spray. Relief.
Stop harassing the people.
Oh, I want the box.
Stop harassing
the box.
Stop
Give me
harassing the
box.
people.
All right.
You two take care of labor.
Only intended for playing time.
Yep, it's been a while, and this is what I'm accustomed to right now. Something happened on the way to the studio. I don't know. Some guy saw a bubblegum truck. It made him excited, you know. Big throbbing in the pants. How would it feel inside of a mouthful of bubblegum? One thing led to the other. Ended up crashing into a bubblegum truck nearby. Had to bust. Blew it all over the car seat. Big massive collision on the bridge. And now here I am stuck.
How can you not see a 50-foot trailer? Come on!
Yeah. So, in the meantime, I figured, fuck it, we'll just do an episode of Jetpack Retro right here. But today, I wanted to finally finish off that retrospective. As I mentioned before, I finally figured out the real reason why our dear James blew up last time, and it was because I didn't properly finish off the retrospective. So, today, for Angry Nerd and to finally get this done, let's step into the final chapter of this AVGN retrospective, which is the top 7 best Angry Video Nerd episodes of all time. Now, like I said in the past for my worst episode, I love James, I love his work, and none of that was a hate thing. But now we can talk about the positive side. So let's step into the top 7 best Angry Video Nerd episodes. Oh yeah, best. I mean, the type that want to make you pull out your fat juice. Now, a few rules before we start this list. There will be no holiday specials on here. None of his Halloween episodes and none of his Christmas episodes will be in this, list. I wanted to, because literally, a lot of his Halloween episodes are some of my favorites of all time. But I figured there's so many of them, and they're a whole different subject. No joke, if an episode is a Halloween special, I will enjoy it 10 times more than I will a regular episode. It's just, the feeling of Halloween just enhances it, and when you have that nostalgia and that joy of Halloween, it makes it 10 times better. So I thought it'd be, a bit not fair for the whole list. So that won't be there, and quick or voice-only episodes won't be here either. I just don't think they count. We're looking for full-on, actual Angry Video Nerd episodes with him doing stuff as well as reviewing it. And also, any episodes that are, 2 or 3 parters, they will count as just one episode. They're the same thing, basically, so might as well condense that into just one. Without further ado, hummus on the schlop, let's get to the pump.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes.
Hey, you were expecting maybe the Addams Family?
Was I expecting the Addams Family?
When I was putting this list together, it was almost utterly fucking impossible. I had a much bigger list of favorite episodes, but then I remember, while making it, while rewatching through the episodes, you can only pick 7 though, man. And I had to cut a lot, but I'm happy I stuck with this one at 7. I chose his TMNT 3 review due to the fact of, it's just a really put together review. Honestly, it's cozy, it's fun, and it just
perfectly mashes from a film's perspective, editing perspective, everything, why this movie didn't work as well as the other two. And it's really well done. I love all of it. The aspects of him just delving into his own history with the Ninja Turtles and what they could have put instead of what they did, villains they should have used, and even down to this cool shot here where he outright shows in editing, his own editing, how to fix that one dumb scene where the guy just glitches into the water instead of falling in. It's so well done and it's such a competent review. And that's why it gets the number 7 slot. It's not one of the craziest episodes, but it's such a nice, fun, calm, ripping on a movie, but in a well-written way where he actually gives valid points throughout it of why he had problems with it. And I think that's why it's a solid 7. Nice, comfy, and just fun.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes.
Any Monster Madness fans here? Well, fuck you, Shmosh Ghoulish Gallery! Anyway, so, this one, if you've watched Monster Madness, this had to do with, as you well know, James' huge love for Godzilla. And trust me, I have friends and family who are also massive obsessive fans of Godzilla, so this actually hit home for me. This goes into a niche that I love a lot. I really enjoy, no joke, you'll probably see a lot of them on this list as we go on. I love compilation episodes. My favorite episodes of his of all time are the episodes where it's literally about, covering a collection of games with a topic. Like this episode, for example, we're going to look at all the Godzilla games I could find. But this one is the most interesting out of all of them due to the fact that this one also delves into the history of how hard and complicated it was to be a Godzilla fan in English countries. How hard it was to get a solid Godzilla game, and how we mostly had these weird ones here and there. And I can relate with that. I mean, growing up, I grew up during the era when there was a lot of good ones on PS2 and stuff, but I never went for them, not interested at that age in Godzilla at all. But I had, one friend who had this one on the Game Boy, and it was addictive. I played it all the time. As the years went on, history would tend to repeat itself, and now, once again, it's more harder than fucking ever to get a Godzilla game today as well. So, sometimes history repeats itself. What are you gonna do? And that's why this episode is so good to me. The niche subject of Godzilla in this episode, covering all the weird as hell Godzilla games that he was allowed to have growing up as a big Godzilla fan, and even that amazing ending of him outright turning into Godzilla and just rupturing the room with his roar. It's a really fun time, and I love this episode. It's literally the one of the episodes I go back to and watch all the time.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes. Good! You killed me! Good!
Oh yeah.
Hey, Luigi?
I remember when this episode first came out, it was a huge deal. Even Angry Nerd himself in the first part talks about how this was like an episode he was working hard to put together. And it shows. This episode is like the Godzilla one, where it's only so good because of how fucking weird and niche of a topic it is. A CDI console. When the episode came out, I had no idea what the hell that was. And seeing it and seeing these weird off-brand Nintendo games, because they were actually able, from their work with Nintendo in the past, able to slip away some Nintendo licenses from them for this console. It's so well done. The weird as shit animation that later became YouTube Poop Gold Media.
My boy, this is what all true warriors strive for.
You know what they say, all toasters toast.
And that weird Hotel Mario game, this just became a goldmine for the YouTube community, and I love YouTube Poop, so it's such a good episode, and it's one of those episodes that James does sometimes, which I love, where he actually beats the game. There is no bullshit, nothing, it's just us actually joining him on this ride of just hanging out and trying to figure out how the hell to beat this weird-ass shit game. Him showing all the weird mechanics, everything about it just meshes perfectly. The only thing I would have hoped for is that the first part with Hotel Mario was much longer, and I would have loved if he went much farther in Hotel Mario the game. But I get it. It's a simple arcade game, so move on to the Zelda stuff. But either way, great episode, and that's why I think it deserves this slot. It's great because of how intriguing it is and how downright weird it is, but not as good as the other ones I've seen.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes. The fifth game isn't even a game, it's just a bag of shit that says Lester the Unlikely 5 on it.
Okay, so either this one's gonna confuse the hell out of you, or it's going to get you hard, or it's going to get you genuinely interested / aroused. Or this entry here will just piss you off. One or the other is fine. But yeah, Lester the Unlikely. I was actually shocked myself when putting this list together and rewatching all these episodes. I actually originally had Lester the Unlikely down as like a solid 7 entry, like, it's just a whatever episode. But as I watched through these episodes, that ended up not being true. I really enjoyed this episode. The more I went through these episodes, the more I enjoyed this one a lot more than the other ones on my list. It's just, there's something about it. One thing I know, I fucking love simplicity. If an episode is entertaining, well done, but very simple, you got me. And I don't know, that's what this is. Once again, like the other entries, it's because of how weird of a game this is. I remember when I saw this episode, I myself went on an emulator, looked for it, found it, and started trying to beat it myself because just the idea of this game, of just a weird, typical nerdy guy who's really useless throughout the game, being a main character for a game was so interesting to me that's what drew me to this episode more. I just love the simplicity of it. I love that it's just, hey, here's a weird-ass shit game I genuinely can't believe exists, and we're just going to try to beat it and see what the hell it even is. And especially that last joke with him showing how worthless each sequel would get if it got sequels always gets me, makes me laugh. This is another one where it's just because it's just a fun, weird, solid time. And that's why I think this deserves the 4th slot. It's not the greatest thing ever made by Angry Bird, but it's such a simple, fun little humble experience that I have a blast with it every time.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes.
64 bits, 32 bits, 16 bits, 8 bits, 4 bits, 2 bits, 1 bit!
Oh yeah, we're going back to my taste of compilation episodes. This was one episode during a weird time for Angry Nerd when it was, I think, if I remember correctly, after or during the Angry Nerd movie. And this was around the era people point to when he started to go downhill. But this is the one episode out of that whole era that I think is genuinely solid. I love compilation episodes, and this one, once again, well, this is going to start sounding familiar, it's just because the topic is weird, and when a topic is weird or, like, something I never heard of, it becomes 10 times more interesting. And to have a compilation of, we're just going to go through the whole history of these weird-ass shit Tiger Electronic consoles, and the whole background on the company itself and its whole era was just so fun and interesting. I love how weird these game consoles are. And you know what's funny? I had one of these growing up. Years ago, when I was back in Portugal just hanging out with my family, I was like very small at that time. And we went to this one like thrift store there, and they had this little thing that looked like a knockoff PSP. And it just had these games just burned onto it. It was literally just basically like, oh, look, it's, like, no joke, that one thing he plays, the Street Fighter Tiger Electronics, I had basically that on there. And I still played a lot, because, well, to me, it was just a fun game. So, to see an episode covering the full thing of where that even came from and all that was 10 times interesting to me. And who could forget fucking classics, like his 8-bit thing, or the him freaking out over how this was basically nothing, but just due to how goddamn cheap it was, it wouldn't die off. It just kept going. It was like a virus, and we all got fucked. Stuff like that makes it so interesting, and that's why I love it so much. It was originally going to be higher, but then I found 2 gems that I thought were much better than it. But Tiger Electronics is more than deserving of this entry, and I fucking love this episode.
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes.
It's educational? I don't want to be educated. I want to rot my brain. This is Luigi's first game, and this is what he gets?
Hey, listen. It was either this or it was Little Red Hood. Which part of nostalgia do you want me to pick from? Yeah, this episode is one of those nostalgia ones. Like, when I was watching through them again, I got such a burst of nostalgia Mario was missing. I remember watching that one, like, that was one of the first few episodes. Well, fun fact, the first ever episode I ever saw of Angry when I was a kid, the episode that made me discover him, was the episode Little Red Hood. That was my first time ever seeing him. But then I saw this one right after, and I thought the topic of this was more interesting. I love that it's just him going through the history of that weird time when Mario had a shit ton of educational games left and right. Mario Missing being the most interesting one due to the fact of, I finally get a game with Luigi instead of Mario. I like Luigi more than Mario, so that sells for me. And to show how weird it is and the niche stuff they do, and the fact that it was on Super Nintendo and NES, but still used the best Mario game of all time, Super Nintendo, Super Mario World graphics for its game, is so weird and makes it so interesting. Yeah, this is another entry of the topic was so weird and so new to me that it was a blast, but it got boosted to 2 because I got such nostalgia watching this one. And that one joke from internet just makes me lose my shit every single time.
Use Yoshi to reach the help desk. Well, how about use my greasy Italian plumber cock to whack you across the fucking face?
The one about Luigi being too short is hilarious. And seeing the whole weird shit of Mario just in these different time periods is fun as hell with Mario's Time Machine. I really recommend you watch this one. It's a huge one. But now you're probably wondering, what in the hell could he have at number 1?
Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes. Look at how huge this beast is. It's ginormous. And why is there a door on it? Is this a video game console or a fucking closet?
Listen. There's a good reason for this. And when I originally made this list, this wasn't even going to be number 1, but, you know, come here. Times change. People grow up. Mature with time. Your list changed from back then, and they might have been back then. You grow up, start to witness the world around you grow. People enjoying their lives playing the fields. And then you finally start to realize slapstick is fucking funny.
Fuck!
I'm not even kidding. This episode only got number 1 because as I was going through them, like, from the start, I already had this one written down. I was like, dude, that one's a classic. Watch it all the time. I know for a fact that one's already going to be on the list. But I wasn't expecting to be number 1, and I think it's because of how more experimental it was. Now, yes, I know there is the Bugs Bunny series that he did, and then there is the Rob one and stuff like that. But I love simplicity. I always liked his episodes where they were more just simple, or I'm just going to review this weird product, or something like that, more than the big bombastic ones. But this one is a perfect fusion of the two. Yeah, it's a review of the weird-ass shit console Atari tried to make that was a failure, and even the history of that was interesting on its own. But then it becomes this funny thing where he doesn't even play the fucking thing. He's just trying his hardest to try to play the thing, but keeps getting fucked every single way. It's just hilarious. I mean, like, has hell setting up the TV, and one thing James said about this episode in the past, which I agree with, is James himself said, well, this was mostly just a joke of struggles we have gone through trying to set up consoles. The whole having to deal with, the wire's too short. And that one got me immediately. Like, I hate that. Like, I gotta get a fucking extension wire. I gotta find a way to get this to reach here. I need to go to the back of the TV. And it's just relatable. It's slapstick that's done very smartly because it's relatable slapstick. Yeah, it's silly, and no joke, his reactions are amazing. Like, when I show this episode to a few of my friends and family, and they also always pick that this one's their favorite. They just love how weird and funny it is, and how relatable it can be. So for all that and more, yeah, this is my number 1 pick. I loved this one, I thought it was great, and it was funny as hell. Like, it's genuinely perfect. And that's why it's my number 1 pick, and that is my top 7 favorite Angry Renner episodes of all time. The fuck? I don't know about you, but I get real confidence from that. Keep on riding high, you good old nerdy space cowboy.
Man, TV nowadays sucks.